Right. Good morning once again. Welcome you to this section. This is Web Development Masterclass Training from Digital Z Hub. So we started with the last class we had, which I believe was our first class. I only gave us a general introduction to what web development as a technological course is all about. There we defined websites for us to know what exactly we are in for. And we define website as the collection of web pages. If you can still remember, define website as the collection of web pages. And then I also explained to us that the pages constitute different content. I hope you still remember that.
Yeah.
Good. And I also gave an example of what could be referred to as web content. I said like pictures, write-up, links, audio, video, all of this can be referred to as the web content, which you as a developer, you are expected to program across your website's pages. And then we also talk about various languages that are used for developing the websites. We started looking at the front end languages such as the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScripts. Then we also talk about the back end or the server side programming languages for developing websites. There we talk about PHP. We'll also mention the SQL. Then, of course, I told us that we are expected to publish our website at the end of the design. So, which means hosting is part of this training. And then just in case I forgot to inform you, there is a framework that is attached to this, even though if it was not mentioned among the list of packages. There is a framework that's every web or front-end developer is mandated to learn, which is called Bootstrap. So it's part of what we are going to learn. So this session, we are diving into the very first language, which you start with, and it is called the HTML. But don't forget that in that section, I also spoke about IDE. You still remember? Spoke about what? IDE.
Say?
In that section, we talk about IDE. You still remember? IDE.
No. Yeah, IDE. Programming IDE.
Yes, I told us that we cannot write code without what? Consulting at least one of the IDE. Please, I want to confirm. Hope my voice is not breaking.
No, it's not broken.
All right, please. Once it is, let me know. So we talk about IDE, and I told us that IDE means integrated development environment. So it is a platform that helps us as programmers to write and execute our code or scripts. So we are going to work with Visual Studio Code, which I told us in that section. And I believe we have set it up, right? You have your Visual
No,
Studio
you
Code.
didn't tell me to set that up.
You have not installed Visual Studio Code.
You didn't ask me to install that.
But I thought we have done that. We have installed it that day now. Are you sure you have not, or you have
Screenshot.
forgot to check
Yeah.
your, so I know we,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did.
I know we have installed it. Yeah, I know you have forgotten. So, so I said IDE is very important to us, in fact, to every
Should
programmer.
I open?
Yes,
Should I open the?
yes, just stay on it, just like the way mine is displaying on the screen. So there is no programmer, either application programmer or web programmer, that does not use an IDE. In fact, every code writer needs what? An IDE, because you need an environment
I
to
don't know.
write your code. Are you with me?
I don't know why it's not opening.
It's not opening. Just double click on it and give it some time. You should be able to come up.
Yeah, that's come up.
Right. Okay, so now let's quickly look at starting with the HTML. Starting with the HTML. So I'm going to start with what is HTML? What is HTML? What is HTML? So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language.
Oh, wait.
HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So let me see if I can use part of this to explain that to you. I hope you have taken note of that. I said what? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So this is the full meaning of HTML, which happened to be the very first language we are looking at. And as we proceed, you get to know why you should start learning web development with HTML. So as the name implies, hypertext markup. Now, the best way I want to break it down for you is this. If you have ever visited building sites, talking about physical what? Building sites, you will agree with me that after clearing the bush, they will, put some rope. I don't know if you have ever seen that. You see them marking out. See them marking out the
Yeah.
shape of the building. They will first of all run some rope, some as like square or rectangular shape, and then you see them, mapping out the trenches, and then before they can start, digging or excavating. Now, that same concept is what I want to use to explain the HTML as a structural web programming language. Now, what we are saying is that the rope that they must have probably what? Map out. Define the shape of that building. That will either tell you whether the building is a square shape or the building is what? Rectangular what? Shape. That is the same thing we are talking about. So when we say HTML is a markup language, we are indirectly saying that it is a web development language that defines the structure of the entire website. Did you get that? That defines
Yeah.
the structure of the entire website. So what makes up a website structure? The structure is the contents, the shape, the contents you are publishing are forming. For example, if you add an image, let's say, for example, you add an image to your web page and the image takes space like this. And then you now have some write-up here beside it. Let's say it is a portfolio website. Let's say this is your image, and this is write-up about you. So you can see that what this image and this write-up has defined what a shape. So that is why we said that the HTML is a markup language. It is not a core programming language. It's just a helper that helps a developer to create contents within their web pages. And I hope you are getting that. So I'm trying to give you different definition of HTML. Number one, I said it is a markup language. That is, it is the language that helps us to define the structure of our website. Then I'm also defining it from the functionality now, which is the language that helps us to create content. So every content you must have seen in a web page was created through what? The HTML. So anything adding of content to your web pages, that is the sole responsibility of what? The HTML. Hope I'm still communicating.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so just to expatiate, because I want you to understand it very well. So HTML is the backbone of a website, is the backbone. If I'm to use your body structure, your body comprises of the bones. And you and I know that the bones
It's the
form
backbone of
the backbone of a website. So I'm using your body structure to explain that word backbone. Your entire body structure internally is designed by the skeleton, right? The bones. Now, the flesh is just coming in, or the flesh is just to modify it to make your body look presentable. That is how it is. So the HTML is like the bone, like the skeleton of the entire website. That is why I told you that it's the one that forms the shape of a website, right? So I believe that is clear. Now, with that understanding, let's quickly talk about some of the key features of HTML. So that will now make us to understand it properly. Let's quickly discuss the key features of HTML. Key features of HTML. Let's talk about the key feature. So the very first key feature we want to talk about is the structure. So I'm going to paraphrase here because I have already explained some of these key features in my definition. So one of the key features is structure. What does that mean? It means that HTML provides the structure of a web page. It means that HTML provides the structure of the web page. That is what I said earlier on. That is form, the shape with the content. All right, so including headings, paragraph, images, link, forms, table, and more of this. These are what forms the structure. So you can see those items that I just mentioned now. Images, headings, paragraph, links, table, they are actually content that you create. So what we are indirectly saying is that what these contents are what you create with the HTML, and at the end of the day, this content will end up forming the shape of your entire website. Now, let's quickly look at the next key feature of HTML is the content. The content. So how do we define content? So HTML is used to define the content. HTML is used to define the contents of a web page. So what could be the content? The images, the videos, the audio, the links, all of these you find in a website could be referred to as what? The content. So that is one of the key feature. Are we still together? Okay, so number 3 is the markup, because I'm trying to make sure that you understand these key words. So once you understand structure, content, markup, then you now understand the role of HTML. So markup means HTML uses tags. So here we are talking about tags. We are talking about tag, which is an essential element of HTML. You cannot do without it. So HTML uses tags to mark up. So in other words, just like I explained that physical site building, they use rope to do their what? Markings. So how does HTML define the shape of a website with the content? It uses what we call what? Tags. Tags. So that markup that you are hearing, it represents the tags, and the tags are like the building blocks in the site. You know, at the end of digging, they will now start what? You know, placing the blocks. And at the end of the day, the blocks placement define the shape of that building. So in web development, we use tags. Tags are equivalent to blocks in the physical sites. So we must know how to use the tags. All right. So if you want to publish any content, you need to know the right tag for creating it. So the collection of these tags is what we mean by what? The markup. So in other words, the markup, it means that what? HTML uses tags to mark up the content. How does it display this content? What does it use to display this content? It uses what? Tags. So including how it should be displayed in the web browser. So it is also the responsibility of the HTML to determine how this content that it must have mapped out or marked up to display across what? Different web browser. So I believe that is taken. So now with that, let's quickly start with it. How do we start writing HTML code? Do you have any question first? All right, so if there's no question, let's quickly look at starting with the HTML code writing. Now, to start with HTML, number one, you have to create a project folder. You have to create a project folder. Now, what's exactly the role of that folder? So let me create a folder here. You can create it on desktop. You can create it in documents. So you have to choose a storage and make a folder. So I believe you know how to make folder. Now, let's assume that you want to start Mr. A project. Because the way I'm training us is how you start a live project. If somebody called you and said, okay, I want you to build a website for me, you have to start this way. You have to start by creating a folder, and that folder should represent that person's what? Project. So all your design, your code, all the resources that you need to develop that person's website must find their way in that folder. That is why I am referring to this folder as the web root folder, the very first folder that holds other what? Folder with their content. So let's say this is so remind me, let's say this is a web. Okay, let's say 5 a.m. 5 a.m. 5 a.m. web development. underscore class. Now, after creating the root folder, then there are other related folder you need to add into it. And all of this folder should have their design role to play. For example, you are expected to structure your document, your file, in a way that is not difficult for you to access content when they are needed during your development. So I know fully well that in the course of developing this website, I'm going to need images. So I would like all the pictures that the client will give to me to be packaged in one folder. So while I am writing my code, anytime I need any of those pictures, either in my home page or about us page, I have a place where I can reference them from. So you are only trying to make sure that your files are well organized. Now I will double click on this folder to open it and create other web related folder inside it. Now, one of the folder you need is the one I just mentioned, which is the image. So you right click within this folder, navigate to new, and then go to folder, and then name it IMG. If you like, you can type it full image. Now, the purpose of creating this folder, every folder you create, please, you must identify the purpose. The purpose of this folder is for me to assemble all the images that will be published across the web pages in here. That is the purpose. Now, I need another folder. Now, why do I need this folder? I need a folder that will separate all my CSS scripts. In other words, the code that I'm going to write to beautify the content the HTML must have created or enable me to add to my web pages. I want those styling code to be separated for debugging purpose. There is what we call debugging in coding generally or in programming. Debugging is because we understand that no matter how good you are, mistakes are bound to happen when you are writing code, particularly from the scratch. So when mistake, or maybe you write a program and the program is not giving you the expected output. So as a programmer, you should learn how to find out what is the problem, provide solution for that particular task. Now, what we are trying to achieve here is that if we merge the HTML code, that is the code for developing the content, for defining the structure of our website, together with the code for beautifying the content, when there is an issue, we are going to find it difficult to know where the issue is. That is why the best practice is for you to have external CSS code and external HTML. That is what the both files should not be written in one file. So for that reason, or planning for that, is the reason why I want to make another folder, and then I will call that folder CSS. So all my CSS code will be packaged in here. Hope you are still following. Are you still following? Hello, please, can you unmute yourself and respond? You are muted.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, so I have to make another folder because I told us that for you to develop the front end, you need three languages: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I will also want all my JavaScript code to be separated. So I'll create another folder. I'm just trying to highlight the reason why I'm creating this folder. So you must have a reason what exactly you want to hold with the folder before you create it. So I'll name this JS. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to populate this folder with some images. The code here will be written by me. The code here will be written by me. So I don't have to go and start downloading them from somewhere else. So I need to consult the client to give me their favorite picture or their best picture, pictures that speak their services. So once I have that, I will have to copy them into this folder. But since this is just training, I want to quickly show us how we can download some pictures from a browser and store them in that folder. So what I'm going to do is to open my browser, and then I should know the type of website I am developing. If it is an e-commerce website or school website, once you identify it, you know the images to go for. So let's say this website is about training. So I would like to have pictures of people that are learning. So if it is about e-commerce, then you get pictures that relate to the product the person deals with. So let's just say computer just for illustration. So computer, and then we search. So from computer, you navigate to images. You are not after the definition. You just want to access or get some pictures that relate to this keyword. So I will just go to what? To images. So I have some images here. So how do I download any of this picture to that my image web folder? So let's say I want to take this. I will just right click on it, select save image as, and that will pop up a storage dialog box. So from here, you navigate to where you have that root folder, which is desktop. So from here, you navigate to the folder, which is 5am web development class. So I will just double click on it. So you can see that we are in that folder. So I will just double click here to go into the what? The image folder, and then give my image a name. So you can have a unique way of naming them. You can say, let's say piece 1. The next one can be what? Piece 2. Now I have saved that. So I still want to download. Let me download our wallpaper so that I can use it for background. So let's say I need this, so I can just do the same thing. Right click, save image as, and then we are already in that directory. So I will just click on this one and then just edit the last word. So I just want to inherit that format. So I click. So right now, we have 2 pictures in our folder. So we can go and continue with this. So I just want you to know how you can add images to the image folder. I hope that is clear. All right. So the next,
Yeah, no,
are you following? I hope my voice, my network is stable.
yes, I'm following that. Either by downloading the pictures or the pictures the customer give to you.
Exactly. So, and you confirm that my audio and my network is stable, right? Please, if you are not hearing me, kindly.
Yeah, it's
Right.
stable.
All right. So the next thing we want to look at is that this particular folder that we have created, which is representing our entire website, we have to install it here. We have to install this folder in here. Why do we have to install it here? Yeah, because this is where the coding will take place. And it is when you are coding here that you'll be reaching out toward some of those resources like the picture we just added here. So we need to make sure that the whole of this is incorporated in here as your development environment. So for us to do that, that is the next thing. For us to do that, we have to open the Visual Studio Code like this. Then you navigate to File. So from File, you click on Open Folder. So once you click on Open Folder, then you have to locate the directory. The directory, remember that we created it on desktop. So I'll go to desktop and then look for it. This is it. Now, once you can access it, please do not double click. Don't open it, just select it and make sure that the name of that folder is what you can see here. All right, now you click on select folder. Now, what is going to happen? Automatically, you will see that everything about that folder has been installed in your IDE. Is that clear? Hope
Yeah.
that is clear. Okay, so I'm going to pause for 5 minutes, except if you have done it, probably you are working alongside with me. If you are not, so I want you to create a folder, and then that should be on your screen. Let me allow you to share. I want you to create a folder, and then add these other subfolders, then add some images, at least one picture inside your image, and record the entire folder in your IDE. So you can share your screen now. Let's quickly look at that. I hope you know how to share your screen.
Yeah.
Please kindly do that. All right.
So I already created a folder, which
Okay.
was this. I just created it and I named it with web folder.
Okay.
So just that I haven't put any picture or any image. So just as you said,
No.
I mean,
That is not. Please hold on with the images addition. Go back to the folder. You have not completed the structure. Go back to the folder first, just minimize. Now, inside the web
okay, this
folder,
is the
the web folder is your first folder, right?
yes.
So you have to right click here and create image folder, CSS folder, JavaScript folder before
Oh,
you think of bringing in the picture.
okay. Yeah. Uh,
Okay, IMG. All right. So create other two folders.
what's the name for the third one?
JS.
Image, CSS,
No,
J,
right? JS.
JS.
Yeah, JS representing the JavaScript. All right, now you
Done.
can go ahead and download the picture into the image folder. We just add one there so that we can proceed. But take your time later to download different pictures. You need to have different categories of pictures in your system. Perfect. Now give the picture a name. That place you have download. No, don't click. delete it and give it a descriptive, let's say piece 1 or whatever. All right. All right. Now call that folder in your development environment. That is your Visual Studio Code. The whole of this folder should be called in there. No. It's there. Just cancel. Just cancel. Go and open your IDE. I believe you have opened that before. The step you are now is to install the whole of that project folder in your development environment.
Okay.
Open your IDE. Leave this place. Just minimize it if you want. I think your Visual Studio Code is already opened. Check your taskbar. Let's see if you have already launched.
Yeah.
So just click on it to come up again. But if you have not, just open it.
Yeah. So it said
All right, go to
should
file.
come to file.
Yes, go to file. Open folder. Open folder. Open folder. Yeah, open folder. Now navigate to desktop where you have open expand desktop. Double click on it. Okay, now tap, just a click.
It said I should just double click or just one click.
One click.
Just a click, okay.
Yes, that's good. Now click on select folder. Right? Perfect. So now,
Yeah.
now you pay attention. Let me continue. I'll come back to.
Should I trust God?
There is a message you have
Say
there,
yes,
right?
I should
Because
trust.
you are
You can see my
opening for the
screen.
first time. Just click on I trust the
Yeah.
publisher, whatever it is you are seeing there. I hope that is settled.
Auto. Okay.
That is
Yes, sir.
right. All right. Now let's proceed.
Yes.
So what we just did now is to set up our projects within the development environment. So this particular environment you are now is like the back end where you are posting the content to the front end for the users to consume. Right? So this is your back end as a developer.
Yes.
And now if you click here, the first thing I want you to know is to understand your file modeling or your file structure, which is very important. When we say your file modeling, we are talking about understanding the relationship between your file component. For example, you can see that this arrow is facing down. There's a reason why this arrow is facing down. What it practically means is that you are in this particular
Are you
direction.
sharing your screen now? Are you
Yes,
sharing your screen now?
I have. Yes, you just for you to unshare your own so that you can see mine. Let me reshare again. Oh, you were still sharing before. You have to stop sharing
Okay, let me
so that you
stop.
can see mine. Okay, so
I've stopped.
okay, confirm if mine has come up. Can you see mine now? It should.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so I was trying to explain that the next thing is for you to understand your file structure. Now, your file structure or the file modeling is the algorithm of your file. How are they structured, arranged? Now, if you look at this arrow, it shows that you are in this folder. And inside this folder, you have 3 sub-items. So you can actually collapse it. You can expand it. I can click here now. Look at what has happened. It means that for me to see those other subfolder, I have to expand it. So you must know how to expand your file. You must know how to collapse your file. So you need to understand that. Now, how do I now go in into any of this folder? Is by also clicking on the attached arrow. You can see that as soon as I expanded this, I have access to those pictures we have added.
The 2 pictures, yeah.
So I can collapse it. So if I click here, there is nothing yet because we are yet to write the code. If I click here, there is nothing yet because we are yet to write the code. So now that we have learned how to model our file, the next step is how to create the HTML file. So you have to start by creating a file. A file is like a page, right? A file is like the page. So each of those pages that you come across in a website, that is the home page, the About Us page, the service page, they all have their different file during development. So in other words, I want to create the first file, and the first file represents the landing page, which is also known as the home page or the index page. So how do I create the file? Which means that you can see that we did not create any folder to represent HTML. We only make a different folder for CSS, different folder for images, different folder for JS. There is no separate folder for HTML. Why? Because the structure is that we are picturing publishing the website on the internet, and the way your files should be structured so that your browser, when somebody type www, so that they can easily detect your index page, your landing page, is that such files should not be wrapped in any other folder outside the word directly in the first folder. So which means that if I click here now, you can see the structure. Your HTML file should not be inside any subfolder. They should be directly in what? The first folder. Did you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so with that understanding, the next thing I'm going to do is to ensure that this arrow is the one facing down, which means that I am in here, not in any of these. So I will click here. Can you see
New
this?
file.
Yeah, you click on
New file, yeah.
Yes. Once you click on new file, it will now what? Give you the space. So the file is index.html. So I want to explain something. You see, the moment I type this section, this icon came out, which is what? This. That is the markup, the tag we talk about, which we are still going to talk about. So which means that HTML is a markup language. Now you can see it. Because as soon as you save it with its extension .html, it automatically understood the language to be what? Markup what? Language, by generating that what? Angle bracket, which represent tags. All right. Now, this particular part is called the file extension. Every programming language has their own word extension. By the time I want to create CSS file, it's going to be maybe index.css. By the time I'm going to create JavaScript, it's going to be maybe index.js. So all programming languages, Python is one is what? Py, that is what? Pi. So every programming language has its what? Extension. It is the extension that expresses the type of file it is. So how do I know what type of file am I creating? Is what comes after the period dot. So which means that the whole of this file we are creating is what? HTML what? File. So once you have typed that, you click outside anywhere. Once I click, you notice that what? A new file have just what? Been created. So now the next thing is for me to activate HTML default file structure. So because we are using an advanced IDE like Visual Studio Code, we should know that the application has already incorporated or embedded a simple HTML file structure that a developer can invoke and continue to work to expand it. For example, instead of me writing the code from scratch, where I will have come and type, I'll open the bracket, I will write this line of code, because this is the first line of code you are supposed to write, which signifies that the type of documents you are creating is HTML. And then you now come down and say HTML, you now open this, then you now expand it, and then you now come here and begin to add the language attributes. You see it now, you now say what? ENG, which means what? Language. And then maybe character set. You now say character set, cassette. In fact, let me leave this one here. Then you now come in here and write heading or head. Then inside the head, you now start having meta tag, for describing. Inside this meta tag, you now come here and say character set. Your character set will now be Unicode transform formatting. Then you now come here and then write body tag. The inside body tag, you can now start writing what? Maybe H1 or saying what? Welcome to Digitech Z. Z Hub Web Development Masterclass. So you see it now. Now, instead of you doing all this, you can see that I have to type all this manually. An expert should know that this whole structure that you type manually is already programmed in your IDE. It's just for you to know how to bring it out. So I'm going to show you different ways you can actually call out the HTML simple file structure that you can expand to become your full website. So just type, but remember, before you use any of this logic, you must have saved your file with what? .html. If you do not save with .html, whatever I want to show you now will not work. Because right now, why it will work is that the whole of this file has been recognized or initialized as what? HTML. That is why when I'm writing HTML keyword, it brings it out. So just type HT. Once you type H and T, you see that what? It will list out the versions of HTML. And the one we are using, which is the latest, is HTML5. We have HTML 1.0, HTML 2.0, HTML 3.0, HTML 4.0, and then we have HTML 4.1. Then finally, we have HTML5. That is the latest that constitutes our more advanced tags, which are the building blocks. So if I click here now, check what happened. You can see that this is what you will have typed manually. So because you understand that this is already programmed, you understand the logic, how to call it out, you have been able to develop what? A simple HTML file structure that you can start expanding. I hope you are with me.
Yes, sir.
So I want you to share your screen, or have you done that? Share your screen and
No.
wait. Have you done it?
Okay, I'm sharing now.
Okay, share your screen so that you can get to where I am before I proceed.
And,
All right, so start with creating the first file. Yeah, go ahead. You
yeah,
can
yeah,
explain what you are doing.
I think they will.
Yeah, click on the file icon. No.
You
Hold
can
on.
see this. Hey, thank you. So
Yeah,
new
good.
file.
Hmm?
So
A name.
we put
Index.html.
what the index dot
Index.html.
html.
Then you click
It's
outside.
really sure.
Just click anywhere outside that place. Just click anywhere. Yeah,
Okay.
good. Now, you activate that simple file structure by typing HT.
Yeah.
Just type HT. H and T. Yeah, you select HTML5. Perfect. So make sure that you are taking note of the topic as we are taking them. In case I ask next time, where did we stop, please? Even if you are not writing the entire note, as we are taking the topic, just make sure that you are highlighting them somewhere. Okay, so you can stop sharing now. Let's proceed. I just want you to.
Okay.
All right, so now that we have achieved this, so the next thing is for us to explain this code. Is for us to explain this code. For us to know the individual functions of this code that you are saying. What is this? What is the literal meaning? Because this is programming. What is the expression? When you write this line of code, what are you actually saying? When you write this one, what are you saying? When you write this one, what are you saying? When you write this one, what are you saying? So that is what I want to explain. So the topic now, I'll be using comments. I'll be using comments. All right. I think let me quickly talk about comments. Comments in programming. You can note it down. Comment in programming is statements used for narration or narrating your activities. Comments are not executable. They are non-executable statements within your program. So in other words, this is what I'm
sorry. Comments.
I say comments are narration, are just what? Narration within your program. That is the first definition. And I explained it further by saying that comments are not executable statements within your program. They are non-executable statements within your program. So how do we create comments in HTML? We have comments in HTML, we have comments in CSS, we have comments in JavaScript. Any programming language you are using, you need to understand how to write comment, because you are going to see that I will not be using, because this is like my board now. So whenever I want to explain something that I don't want to bother the program to execute, it's just for me to explain to you and to explain to myself, I will use comments. So once I use comment notation, it means I am directly telling the program, don't bother yourself running this code. This code is not for you to run. It's just for me to understand what I'm doing. So now, how do you activate comment? If you check your keyboard, you will see a button with control. I believe you know your control button, right? Control. There's a button they wrote a CTRL. Hold it down. And then if you check towards your right hand side, you will see a slash. I think there's a question mark on top. You see a slash. So once you press it like this, that is how you activate comment line in HTML. Have you gotten it? Hope you got
Control and what?
forward slash, control and forward slash. You will see a kind of slanted, a line. There is, or where you have the question mark on your keyboard. Hold down the control and press it. You will get this. Now, going forward, I'm going to be using comment to explain.
Okay.
To explain whatever I'm doing. So the topic I'm explaining now is what? Explanation. Explanation of HTML basic file structure. File structure. So what I actually want to explain to us now is what? All this. All right. Now, there is no way we will explain this without understanding what we mean by tags. So let's quickly understand. I'll use comment to be explaining whatever I'm doing. So HTML tags. So I want to quickly define what tags are, because all this that we are referring to as HTML document or simple file structure is made up of tags. So that is why I want us to understand what tags are before we proceed. So how do we define HTML tags? So HTML tags are keyword enclosed in angle brackets. So any keyword enclosed in angle brackets, we refer to that as what? E.g., like this. So the whole of this is a tag. So whenever you see it in HTML document, we refer to that as what? Tag. Now, for us to explain this now, we need to understand. So if I ask you that, I want you to respond quickly. Can we say this is a tag? If you are with me, is this a tag?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Why do you say it's a tag? Can you prove that?
Because it's enclosed in a bracket.
Good. Now, this is also a tag, right?
Yes.
This, in fact, everything we have here, they are all what? Tags. So you need to understand that the tags are the building block. Add that note. The HTML tags are the building block. So if you are to relate it with the site building, you know the mode blocks, and then they will now start arranging the block to form the room shape, to form the entire building shape. So in web development, we use tags to define the website. We use tags to add all the content. I hope that is taken. Now let's quickly, this is how you are going to be writing it out. So I'm going to be picking them one after the other and highlight their functions. So you write this first. So you can just take that. Let me start with this. So what does this particular tag represent? So you write the doc type HTML tells the browser this is a HTML5 document. So it only tells the browser, oh, the type of document it is. That is why, as you can see, doc type HTML. So it tells the browser, because the browser is what we will always use to view the user's end, because this particular end, like I told you,
You tell the browser.
tells the browser
You tell
that
the browser what?
it tells the browser that this is HTML5 document. It tells the browser that this is HTML5 document. Is that taken now? Did you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
that is the rule of this. That is why you started by writing this, which means that you have already declared the type of document to be what? HTML. And then after the declaration, immediately you now start with the HTML tag, which means that, oh, now that this is saying this is HTML, okay, we need to call the HTML container. So let's quickly explain that. So I'm taking the one after the other. So I'm taking this one now, Control C. Then I'm bringing it here by comment. So this particular line, what does it represent? Right. The HTML tag is also known as the root element of the page. It's known as the root element of the page, which means that what is the beginning, is the first container that every other element of content are in. That is what we are saying.
It's also known as the root.
It's also known as the root element of the entire page. The root element, which means that it contain or it envelop other content, is the first container that envelop other content. Right? Do you understand that? So this is just like you open a container here.
Okay.
This is just like,
Yes.
let me model it so that you can understand it. This is just like, this is it here. So this one is the HTML tag. This is HTML tag. Now, the next one I want to explain now is this one. Remember that what? The HTML tag, I'm going to explain that
The head.
when I start talking about tag properly. Started here and it closes here. So you should know that tag has opening section and what? Closing part. So which means that what? This particular one now, this particular one, this is it here. Let me just say, this is it here. HTML. Then this one now, which is just the addition of this slash for the same name, HTML. So this one is the opening tag. This one is what? Opening. This one is the opening tag. Why this one is the closing. Closing what? Tag. So you need to understand all this. Now, what is happening here is that this is where it started. This is where it closes. So when I said that is the root element, so you can ask that what is actually the first bus. So inside this bus now, you now have head. So this head is just like another container like this. But it's not covering the entire space because there are other elements. So inside this container, so this one is like your head tag. Try to see if I can. So this one is like the head tag. Just want to model it so that you get the picture. Now, inside this head tag, you have these three. You have this, you have this, you have this. This is the closing of that head tag. So which means that what? Inside this container, you have three what? Buses. You have three buses inside this. I hope you are following. You have three buses.
Yes, yes.
Good. Now, after the head, you now have your body, which means that you have another container inside that HTML. So this one is your body tag. So all your visible item, anything that the browser will display in its body, they are to be programmed within what? The head tag. Sorry, the body tag. And then you have the closing of the body somewhere here with the slash body. So if you check what I've done now, I have modeled the entire Word document. So now as I continue with the explanation, you now understand it better. So let's go back to the definition. Remember that I've defined what? This, right? I have defined this. So I want to define this now. So you bring it out. Bring this one out like this. And then let's talk about it. I want to clean this. Can I go ahead or you want to draw it? Can I remove this? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, so let me, so that we can.
Yes.
All right, so now let's quickly talk about this particular one. As you are writing it, you also write the closing. So you write two of them like this one, and then you give space and write this. So to define that, the head contain meta information. The head contain meta information. Let me take it here, Control C. I said it contain meta information. So what do we mean by meta information? Like the title, like the title, comma, style. You get to know all these later, style, and link. So the whole of this head, everything you have inside it, in summary, they are used to describe the document. So everything you have here talks about what? The document itself. So if you are putting it in writing, you can simply say that what? The HTML head tag is used for describing the HTML document. For example, this particular line is a subtag under it, which describes the type of character set to be what? UTF. That is what? Unicode Transform Formatting, to be 8. We have 2 character sets. Character set means what? The contents encoding within the browser. All the picture, whatever it is you are going to publish within your website should fall within the global recognized character set, which is UTF-8 for website. The UTF-16 is for app development. So those are developed standalone apps, then they are going to use UTF-16. But for us web developer, we use UTF-8. So which means this is also providing information regarding to the type of character set that this website will be built with. Now, if you check here now, this one is talking about responsiveness. Responsiveness, what does that mean? Responsiveness means the adaptability of this website across devices. If you open this website on a computer laptop, the way it's going to open, because you have a very big screen, is going to be different from the way it will open on a mobile phone. So, but this very one focuses on laptop view and tablets. But if you are looking for mobile view, if you want your website to display properly on mobile, that is where we are going to bring a media query. We are going to achieve that with JavaScript function and CSS media query. Or better still, we implement that with the Bootstrap that I talked about, which has almost all the known media sizes display. So that is what this one is for. Now, this one is the title. This one is the title. Now, your documents should have a descriptive title. For example, if somebody get to a website, let me open this browser. You see what comes up here, computer wallpaper, Google. That was configured with that title. So how do we check our front end as we are developing so that we will know the title of this document? How do we check the title? Now, how do we check the title, or how do we check the front end? Remember, I told you that this is your back end. This is your development back end. So whatever you are coding locally as you are developing, you don't wait until when you host it. You now discover that a lot of things are not properly written. As you are developing locally, you need to be testing your code with a browser. That is why we need a browser. So browser is just like the engine that help us to see how this content we have developed so far will be presented,
Is
displayed to the users, because after all, they are going to use the same browser to load the website when it's eventually published. So how do we do that? So we have to install an extension. It's like we did that in our last class, right? I taught us how to install an extension. So if you have not, if you click on this icon, you view the list of installed extensions. So you can see that I have Lifesaver. So if you click on your own and it's not there, you just come here while you are on the internet and type what? Lifesaver. And then to bring it out, then you click on, because I've installed. That is why my own is showing what? Disable. But if I have not installed, then I have to click on what? This particular place will be showing install. You click on it just like this one now. You can install this one. You can install this one as well, any of them. Then you click on install. So it will install. Now, once you have that, the essence of installing this extension is for us to be able to, we want it to be updating our browser subsequently as we are developing real time, so that I don't have to start refreshing my browser to capture the recent code or design. So let's go back there. So how do you use it? I'll click on this HTML file, and then you right click anywhere within that HTML file. You will see the name of that extension, which is this. My own is 5server. So if you install 5server, fine. If you install live server, whichever one you install, you are going to find it here. So once I click on it, I want you to see what is happening. So it will now load it to the back front end and show you how the users will view your website. So I just want to show you so that you know where that document will display. Can you see it? So right now, everything is empty because we have not written anything in our body. All these that we have written, they are just comments, like I told you. Comments are not meant to be executed. That is why as we previewed it, it did not show us those comments. So it's as good as everything is empty. But this is where I want to draw your attention to. Why are we having this document here? You are having this document here because if you check your title, what do you have here? Document.
Document, yes.
This is not descriptive enough. This does not have any way of informing someone that someone is in a valid domain. So you delete it and type what? Let's say welcome. I want them to see this as soon as they step into my website. Welcome to Digitech Zeal Hub. So if I go back now, I don't have to right click again and do this because like I told you before, this particular extension will update as you are writing your code is updating it in the browser. So if I come back to the browser now, you see that what? It has automatically what? Changed. Did you understand that?
Yes.
Good. So that is the title. That is the title. So you can see that what? This is your HTML document content. Why this is what is giving you information about this. So when somebody gets to this website, the person will know, okay, welcome to, oh, I am already in what? Digitz or domain. So that is for that. Then of course, let's look at the body tag. Let's look at the body tag. I hope you are still writing. The body tag. Now, the body tag contains everything. The body tag contains everything visible on your web page. Contain everything visible on your web page. For example, when we launched it the other time, nothing is showing here because you have not written anything within, you have not created visible content within the body of the browser. So that is why sometimes professionally we can say that the body tag is used to write content in the browser's body section. Used to write content in the browser's body section. Are you with me?
Used to.
To write content in the browser's body section. Have you written that?
Yeah.
All right, so if that is taken, let's quickly look at some tags. So now I want to properly explain some tag. Now remember that all these we inherited them. You know that we did not manually.
Yes.
The only thing we modify is this. Now,
Yes.
your website should go beyond this. I told us before that this is just HTML simple file structure that has already been created for you to start with. So you have to now know, okay, which other content do you want to add beyond what this one has given you? The only visible, tangible content this file structure gives to us that the user can see is the what? Is this head.
Yes.
We don't have any picture published here. We don't have any heading published here. We don't have any video published here. Now, if you now want to create those items, then you have to know the tags. That is why the next topic now is you write HTML HTML tags mastery. That is our next topic, HTML tags mastery. So at this level, I just want us to master certain structural tags. In other words, tags that are used to create content, tags that are used to define the structure of our website. So we want to start by looking at them, and I'm taking it from basic and then we'll be advancing. So we are going to spend some time dealing with this tag, basic tag. We're going to be learning them first. After we have taken a reasonable time to learn them, now we understand different building blocks. So when I am building a room, and based on the content I want in that room, for example, if I need a chair in that room, I already know the tag for adding chair. If I need an image in that page, I already know the tag for adding image. If I need to create a link, I already know the tag for creating link. If I need to develop a form, a questionnaire, I need a tag to do that. So that is why we want to spend some time talking about different tags. Don't forget that tags are the building block of HTML, which are used to add content to your web pages. Tags are the building block. You cannot publish content without going through the tags. You just saw it now. We were able to publish this with what? This title tag. So even this title tag is not there. There's no way you could have been able to to publish that. Okay, so now I'm going to start with a simple tag, HTML basic tag. Basic tag. So I'm starting with this. So the very first one I want to explain to us is heading tag. HTML heading tag, which ranges from H1 to H6. So you should know that. So HTML heading tag, generally from the word heading, they are used for creating headings within our website. What do I mean? For example, if somebody gets to my web page, I want the person to see about Digital Z as a heading. Now, under it, I will now start explaining who is Digital Z. What did they do? So you see that you have started what? Now, at first, you need a heading. Then you ask yourself as a developer, which tag will you use to create that heading? Then after you have created the heading, you now need paragraph. You now start writing something about that heading. You will also ask yourself then, which other tag will I use to describe the heading? Then at some point you say, okay, I want to back the whole content up with picture. You will also ask yourself, which tag do I need to add the picture? So you can see that as you are identifying this content that you want to publish, you are also identifying the corresponding tag for creating them. So that is why when you claim you know HTML, you should have knowledge of different tags, because each of these tags are used for creating different content. Right now, we want to focus on the heading tag. In other words, the tags that are used for creating headings. So which heading do I want to create? I want to publish here about Digital Z Hub. So I will consult between H1 to H6, which means that we have H1, we have H2, we have H3, we have H4, we have H5, and then we have H6. We do not have H7. So any of them can create your heading. So I will just type H1, because all these tags are already programmed within this IDE. They are already here. It's one of the reasons why you are using Visual Studio Code and any other advanced IDE, because they already have most of these functions embedded in them. It's the reason why we are using them. Gone are the days where we were using a front page. When I learned web development, I learned with what? Front page or notepad. Imagine that era. We suffered. You don't have this. We suffer. We have to write
Everything manually.
manually. But today we are using this one whereby they have already enhanced it. Just know the keyword and press enter. You see that it automatically gives me the entire code structure. Now, it is now less for me to understand the tag syntax. So in your notes, you write this, because once I've explained it with this explanation, I will assume you know it going forward. What is called syntax? Syntax in programming. Syntax means set of rules that govern the code writing. Every language have their own syntax. The reason why you say you understand Python, because you know Python code what? Syntax. So in a layman term, syntax means what? The format of writing the code. The format. Are you with me?
Yeah.
The format. So the format here is that this is opening tag. I want you to draw this. This is opening what? Tag. Between this, the opening tag, there is a space. So that space is referred to as the content. So whatever you program in that space is what the user will see. Remember that the user will not see any word in brackets, which is referred to as the tag, will be hidden into or by the browser. The browser will only display whatever that comes between the opening tag and the what? The closing tag. The closing tag. That is what the browser. For instance, when we outputted this the other time, were you seeing this?
No.
Were you seeing this? You only saw what? This, right?
Welcome to
Good.
the text view.
So we should always know that the browser will keep the tag to itself, but the browser will use those tags to present the content to the users. Exactly. So
Yes, sir.
is that what? Any tag with the difference between the opening section of a tag and the closing section of a tag is this /, but the name are the same. The name are the same. So this one show that the code starts here and ends here. Shikena. Did you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Good. So I just want you to understand that before I proceed. So now that that is understood, so I want to publish, like I told you, you can see that nothing is showing yet because we only activated the tag. We have not given it what? Content to display. So that content should come in here. So I will write what? Welcome. Oh, sorry. About DigiTech Zeal Hub. So if I go back to the front end now, you see that what? Automatically, I have what? The content published. So you can now begin to understand clearly why we said HTML is a markup language that what? Create content in a web page. If somebody asks you now, how did you publish this content? What will be your response, sir? How did you get this item here?
From HTML.
Good. You say you use HTML building block called what? H1. It's a tag,
Okay.
right? Now, the next tag I want to explain to you. Now, remember I said that you can use H2, right? I can use H2. Let me just go through this just to confirm that all of them can be used depending on you. So if I paste the same content here, and then I type what? H3, and I paste the same content, and then I type H4 just to prove to you that you can actually use them. The only thing is that they all have different sizes by default, but we don't want to bother ourselves with that because we even alter those standard with CSS. So we can use the list heading and use CSS to make the size bigger than even the first one. So if I go back to the front end, you see what happened. So H1 is bigger, followed by what? H2, followed by, so the H is the list. Okay, so that is just to confirm that you can choose to use any of these to create your heading. Anywhere you need heading, in your website. You create it with what? Any of those tags. Now, the next tag I want to introduce is the paragraph tag. I want you to write the paragraph tag. The paragraph tag. So the paragraph tag, let me use comment, paragraph tag, which is denoted with P, like this. You don't write it in full, just type P. Now, the paragraph tag is used to create multi-line texts. Multi-line, not just one line. Multi-line, that's what? A write-up of multiple lines. If you want to create that, for example, now to explain, to talk about this digital Z now, you will need what? Paragraph tag. So which means that we just come here and say P, press enter. Now, I will say something, digital Z Hub is an online tech training platform. Right? So for example, I can break it here. I'll just put, we train on the following programs. So I can just put them in bracket, web development, cyber security, data analytics, AutoCAD, (2D) and 3D, data science, and so forth. So if I go to the front end now, you see that what? I have everything here. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Good. But now, in order to have a multiple line, I want to use HTML inbuilt writer to create the content for me. So though it's not going to give us relevant content, but it's just for debugging, just for us to test what we are doing.
Yeah.
So I can just come here and say, okay, P tag, I just want you to just give me some tests. So I will just type Lorem. So Lorem is an inbuilt HTML test writer. So we can actually use it to write tests just for debugging purpose, like I said. So I can specify the number of words you want it to write for you. Let's say I want to create 200 words for me. Make sure that there's no space between the lorem and the number of word tests, and then press enter. So if I go back to the front end, you can see that what it has created a whole lot of tests for me automatically, just for me to practice what I am learning. Are you following?
Yeah.
So lastly, the last tag, because you are going to replicate this as your assignment. So your assignment is for you to create a web page with this content heading and some write-up under it. So the last one I want to show us is the image tag. The image tag. That is the last tag for this section. So we'll continue with tag. Now, the next class is going to be, I'm going to introduce you to CSS because we'll be learning HTML and CSS together. That is, we are
Okay.
creating content, then we are also what? Styling them. So the next class will be for this content that I've created, the heading, the paragraph, the image that I want to create. I will now teach us how you can style them, how you can make them look user what? Friendly, how you can color them, how you can work on the appearance. Now, let's quickly talk about the image tag. Image tag, image tag. So the image tag is used to add images to your web pages. So every website that you have ever visited and you see an image, you are going to know the logic, how they publish those images now. So you should know that somebody used a tag to publish that picture there. And this tag cannot be used for something else. It's strictly for what? Creating what? Images.
Add the image.
Yes. So how do I use it? I'll just type what? IMG. Once you type IMG, you click and then it brings out the tag. The tag is an empty tag. Let me explain the difference between empty tag and complete tag. You see that when you open the H1, it comes with what? The opening section and the what? The closing section.
Close.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, here, can you see closing section?
No.
It's what? Opening section. Now, any tag that does not have that closing section is referred to as self-closing tag or an empty tag. Now, the question is that since it does not have the closing tag, how is it going to add its own content? It's going to use what? These attributes. Source. So that brings us to what we know as attributes. You need to understand attribute because I'll be using it. So HTML, you can note it down. HTML attributes are used to provide additional information. Additional information, I don't know if I'm correct, about the tag, about the tags or the tag. They are used to provide what? Additional information. So for example, this lang is an attribute that provide what? The language to be what? English. This character set is an attribute that provide what? The file type. Now, all these ones that are attribute, name is an attribute, content an attribute. Now here, SRC is an attribute that means what? Source. Are you with me? It means
Yes.
what? Source. And the word source means what? Path, the location. Now, the images we want to publish, they are already here. So we need to tell the tag, where would the images be cut from? Whenever somebody visits this web page, where will I take the image and show it to the person? So you can either reference the picture from here to this place, either by using absolute, or you use what? Relative. You use relative method. Okay, so when I say absolute, it means that before I can call this picture, I want to trace it to the root. That is what? My website folder is on desktop, and that desktop is in local drive. Okay, let's start from local drive, which is drive C. So that project folder is on local drive, sorry, is on desktop, and the desktop is on local disk. Then inside the desktop, you have that folder. Inside that folder, you have the image folder. Inside the image folder, before you have the picture you want to cut. You can see the way I have to acknowledge all the storage from the root. That is absolute, which is considered to be a long process. So these days, nobody uses that. Even browser finds it difficult to locate item if you use absolute. So what you do is that you use relative. Relative, as the name or word implies. If you want to access me now, Prosper, if you go to my village now, Ibide, and start shouting, Prosper, Prosper, nobody will answer you because probably they may not know the Prosper you are talking about. But the moment you add my grandpa name, Eguero Prosper, you see that somebody will know, oh, this is the one. That means you assess me based on who I am related to. So that's what I mean by relative. So relative method is where you come into because the attribute has two sides. Every attribute in HTML has two sides. The name side and the value side. So you don't need to bother yourself with the name side. The value side is what they have left empty. So you make sure that you are inside it and hit the slash. That same forward slash, once you hit it, it will automatically display all your directory, all your file structure is what you can see here. You already know where you have the picture, right? Out of this displays. You go in here and you choose the one you want. So once you click here, go back to the front end. You see the picture what? Published. I hope you get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, any other thing now, okay, maybe this picture is too small or is too big or we need to do that. That does not concern HTML now. That is the work of what? CSS that we are going to talk about in the next class. But HTML also have an attribute for increasing the size if you don't want to bother the CSS. So you just space after the last attribute. Now let me explain this. This particular alt attribute has its own function. The function is that peradventure for any reason, this particular image fails to display, there should be an alternative word that will replace it. So for example, now, if I remove this G, because of that G that I've removed, the image will no longer display. Now, nothing is displayed to the user. Meanwhile, maybe the person's device do not have the plugin, not that the image was not programmed. So how do you give them an idea that, oh, something ought or something supposed to display here, but maybe something makes it not to display? You now put alternative text. So you can now say what you are supposed to see there is computer picture, computer what? Picture. So if I go back now, you can see it now. So anytime they could not find the picture, probably maybe their phone does not have the extension to display the image format, this is what the browser will display to them. So if this one is up, this one can never be up. So you should understand that it is only when this one is down that this one will be invoked. Are you following?
Yeah.
Now, that is for that. Now, I wanted to show us the last one before we end the class. If, for example, I don't want to bother CSS to increase the size of the picture, this particular tag has width attributes that you can just type WI, and then the width I can say, okay, let it be 800 PS. That is pixel. If I go back now, you can see that what? I have not started consulting CSS, but I'm just leveraging on the what? The HTML what? Inbuilt attribute for increasing the size of a container, because I'm seeing the picture as what? Container. Good. So I can also use its own height. There is also height attribute to redefine the height, let's say 400 PS. So if I go back, you see that what? I've been able to adjust the height as well. So this is where we stop. Then your assignment is for you to replicate this. And it's a must if the assignment is not ready. Once I log in like this, about to start that class, I will close this class. I will send you back to go and do the assignment. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So I will send you the video link. Go through it. If you're having any issue, the video will put you through. Make sure that you give me these three content. Heading, it can be any other word. Then describe it. You have time to type or copy some write-up from somewhere. You can paste it and then add an image.
The image.
So like I said, in our next class, what I'm going to do is to first of all, introduce us to CSS so that we'll start styling this, making all this to display in order to display properly to give users a good experience. That is what we mean by UI UX. That is what user interface designing and creating interface that gives users good experience. So every web developer that creates front end is a UI UX designer. You are expected to make sure that the interface you are developing is users friendly. Any question?
No, for now, no. Thank you very much. Everything was well explained. And So if I don't get anything right, just as you said, you're going to send me the link. So
Yeah.
I will use the link to follow up and to
All right.
get more. Yeah.
All right. All right. So don't forget tonight class, the other one.
Yeah. I know.
You have to do this one possible this morning so that to not, you are learning two programs at the same time. So you need to
Yes.
take time for practicing them so that.
And secondly, I haven't been able to install that the Microsoft Office.
In Ghana,
The
over there, people have places like where they install computer vendors, where they install application, where they sell
yeah, yeah, but where it is very, very far. It's very, very far from where I am. And the one close by, I tried to contact him and he said that he's not around right now. I would have done it yesterday, but he said he's not around.
So when is it going to come?
Now maybe by weekend or next week.
Okay, so the truth is that you have to install it, but depending on when you install it, what you
Okay.
do, just type Microsoft Office. You have an email now, right?
Yes.
So what you do is very simple. In case you can't get it, just go to YouTube and just type how to register with Microsoft Office online. So you can be using that one to practice, though it's remote one. It is only when your computer is on the internet. So you only need an email address to register. And then once you go to Microsoft Office, you will log in with your account. You sign up with them with an email and then create password. They will give you a user account where you can log in and use all these Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, and then depending on when you finally install the local one. So you can use that one to be practicing.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.